This captivating story starts with Rohit Gupta, an Indian millionaire. He comes from a traditional family and hated America, but the little girl's gesture changed his whole life.
Subscribing to this channel is like joining a secret society of awesome people. And who doesn't want to be part of an awesome society?
It was a beautiful morning in Mumbai, and the sun was shining bright. As Rohit got out of bed, his phone started ringing, and he picked it up to see his daughter's name flashing on the screen. "Good morning, Papa," she said with excitement. "I have a surprise for you. Can you fly over for my birthday?" Rohit hesitated for a moment. He had a lot on his plate right now. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," he said. "I can't make it. I have too many business meetings lined up, and I can't afford to miss them." His daughter sounded disappointed. "But Dad, it's my 25th birthday. It's a big deal for me," she said, her voice cracking. Rohit felt a pang of guilt. He knew how hard his daughter had worked to build a life for herself in the United States, and he wanted to be there for her. "Okay, I'll think about it," he said, trying to sound non-committal. As the day progressed, Rohit couldn't shake off the thought of his daughter's birthday. Finally, he picked up the phone and called her. "Okay, I'll come," he said, his voice resolute. "But you have to tell me what the surprise is. I don't like surprises." His daughter giggled on the other end. "No, Dad, it's a surprise. You'll have to wait and see," she said, her voice teasing. Rohit sighed, knowing that his daughter was as stubborn as he was. During the dinner, his wife noticed that he looked upset and asked him what was wrong. Rohit revealed that he was struggling with the decision to fly to the United States. He missed his daughter dearly, but he hated America. Rohit's wife looked at him sympathetically. "I understand that you miss our daughter, Rohit," she said, "but you can't let your biases cloud your judgment. Not everyone in America is like what you see on TV." Rohit scoffed. "It's not just the TV, Ria. I've been to America multiple times. I know what it's like there. It's a soulless place, where people are only interested in money. There's no culture, no history, no cuisine worth talking about, which means there is no humanity in the US. Rohit settled into his first-class seat on the plane, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. He reminded himself that he was going to see his daughter, and that was all that mattered. He stepped off the plane at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport and walked towards the baggage claim area when a security officer with a dog approached him. "Excuse me, sir," the officer said. "Do you have any prohibited items in your luggage?" Rohit hesitated for a moment, not sure how to answer. He knew that he hadn't packed his own bag, and he didn't want to get into any trouble. "I'm not sure," he said, his voice trembling. "My wife packed my bag for me." The security officer looked at Rohit skeptically, his hand on the dog's leash. "Can you please step aside, sir?" he said. "We need to inspect your luggage." Rohit nodded. He watched nervously as the dog sniffed his luggage. After a few tense moments, the officer looked up at Rohit and nodded. "You can go ahead." Rohit walked towards the exit, muttering something in Hindi under his breath. As he approached the doors, he saw his daughter waiting for him, a big smile on her face. "Dad!" she exclaimed, running towards him and giving him a tight hug. "I'm so glad you're here!" As they drove away from the airport, Rohit looked out of the window, taking in the sights and sounds of America. He saw tall buildings, busy highways, and people rushing around. This was so different from his home in India. As they made their way towards their destination, Rohit's daughter turned to him with a mischievous glint in her eye. "Dad, I can't wait to show you my surprise," she exclaimed. Rohit smiled, feeling a sense of anticipation building up inside him. He wondered what his daughter had in store for him. A few minutes later, they arrived at a suburban-like area, filled with old buildings and people wandering around. Rohit felt a sense of discomfort as he looked around, realizing that this was not the America that he was used to seeing. His daughter parked the car and they got out, walking towards a small building at the end of the street. Rohit turned to his daughter. "What is this place, sweetheart?" he asked with curiosity. Priya smiled at him with satisfaction. "I bought a small house here, Dad," she said, pointing at the smallest and oldest house on the corner, which looked like a small garage. Rohit was shocked as he looked at the tiny house. He knew that his daughter was trying to make it on her own, but he had never realized just how much she had sacrificed. Tears welled up in his eyes as he looked at his daughter. "Why did you do this, sweetheart?" he asked. His daughter looked at him and said, "I wanted to show you that I didn't need your money or your support. I could do this on my own. See it?" Rohit felt a sense of hurt and guilt ran over him. He took his daughter's hand, feeling a sense of closeness with her. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You are truly amazing." Then Rohit's voice trembled, and he looked into his daughter's eyes. "But this house is not for you, Priya," he said in tears. "Not for us. Let me buy you a new house. A 2-floor house. No, 3-floor. Let me save you from this creepy place." "Dad, please," she said firmly. "I don't want your money. I don't want your charity. The people here are kind and the rent is affordable. I don't need a fancy house to be happy." Rohit took a deep breath, trying to control his emotions. "I understand, Priya," he said with sadness. "But please, if you ever need anything at all, just let me know. I want to be here for you no matter what." "Okay," said Priya. Her face changed. "Let's go to the car. We should be home by now. Rohit didn't understand her words. What about this house? He asked. Papa! Papa! Smiled Priya. You're probably too old to understand what the word prank means. What? Said Rohit, shocked. It was a joke? Yes, Papa, said Priya, laughing hard. Rohit started to chase her, and she ran away towards the park where the kids played. They ran around the park and came back running to the car. After the playful time in the park, Priya and Rohit drove to a bigger house in a better neighborhood, where Priya's friends had prepared a meal for them. As they sat down to dinner, Rohit noticed that the food tasted different than if it was made in India, but preferred not to talk about it. They talked and laughed together, and Rohit felt a sense of belonging that he hadn't felt before in America. During dinner, Priya revealed that she had actually bought a house and was already working for a big company. That was a big surprise for Rohit. After dinner, Rohit took a walk in the neighborhood. He couldn't sleep due to the time difference. Then, all of a sudden, Rohit's heart raced as he realized that he might have lost his wallet. He racked his brain, trying to remember the last time he had seen it. Then, it hit him. He hadn't touched his wallet since they left the park. Rohit's frustration boiled over, and he started cursing the neighborhood. How could this happen? He muttered to himself. This is America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. And yet, I can't even keep my wallet safe. As he continued to vent his frustration, Priya heard him and came to investigate. Dad, what's wrong? She asked. I lost my wallet, and nobody has called me to return it. This neighborhood is full of thieves and crooks. Dad, please, she said. I'm sure we'll find your wallet, and the people here are good people. Rohit had slept until noon, feeling a sense of exhaustion from his long journey. But as soon as he woke up, he remembered the panic from the previous night. He got up from the bed like he was shocked with electricity, feeling a sense of urgency. He knew that he needed to take action. My wallet! Rohit shouted. We have to find it. They got into the car and drove to the park. As they arrived at the park, Rohit jumped out of the car, scanning the ground for any sign of his wallet. He searched the grassy areas, the benches, and even the trash cans. But there was no sign of it. The children at the park stared at him with confusion. They watched as the Indian man sniffed the grass and searched the ground with an intense focus. They were simply fascinated by his behavior. One of the children, a little girl with curly hair, approached Rohit tentatively. Excuse me, sir, she said, her voice sweet. What are you doing? I'm looking for my wallet, he said. I lost it here yesterday. The little girl nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. Oh, okay, she said, and ran back to her friends. Rohit continued his search for his wallet, muttering something in Hindi and cursing under his breath. Dad, please calm down, said Priya, trying to soothe him. It's just a wallet. We can replace everything inside. Don't let this ruin our trip. The little girl with curly hair came running back. She handed Rohit his lost wallet. Rohit couldn't believe that she had returned it to him. Why? Asked Rohit dumbfoundedly. The little girl looked at him, her eyes shining with innocence. What why? She asked, instead of answering his question. Why didn't you take it or hide it? Rohit asked with confusion. It's full of money and credit cards. You could have used it. The little girl shook her head, a determined look on her face. It's not ours or mine, she said. I don't take what doesn't belong to us, sir. And with that, she ran away, leaving Rohit standing there, thunderstruck. As Rohit stood there in shock, lost in his thoughts, Priya ran after the girl and brought her back. Dad, I think we should give her something in return, she said. Maybe some money or a present. What do you think? Rohit was still lost in his thoughts, unable to process what had just happened. This little girl just saved him from a huge market crash. As Priya talked to the girl, Rohit slowly came back to himself. He kneeled in front of the girl. Where do you live, young lady? He asked her gently. There, sir, she replied, pointing at the smallest and oldest house at the corner. It was the same house that they had been pranking about with his daughter. As the girl walked away, Rohit turned to his daughter, feeling a sense of shame. I'm sorry, Priya, he said. The tiny door at the tiniest house at the corner opened after a few knocks. A poor-looking woman smiled at Rohit and Priya and asked if she could help them. Rohit cleared his throat and said, I just wanted to say I was wrong, he said, his voice shaking. About everything. I was so caught up in my own beliefs and prejudices that I couldn't see the truth. But your little daughter changed all that. She showed me what love and courage really look like. The woman looked at Rohit in confusion. I'm sorry, I don't understand, she said. Rohit smiled at her. Your little daughter, she's amazing, he said. She taught me so much about myself and about America. I just want to thank you for raising such a beautiful child. Thank you, she said. You have no idea what that means to me. Rohit thanked her again, and they left the house. The next morning, a big luxury car stopped at the tiniest house on the corner. The car belonged to a real estate company. Good morning, I'm from the Hathaway Real Estate, said the young agent. We have received a full payment in cash from an Indian man who bought a new 2-floor house from us yesterday, and he asked us to register it to you and your daughter. The lady who opened the door looked at the agent in disbelief. What are you talking about? The agent smiled reassuringly. I know it's a surprise, but please don't worry. The house is yours, free and clear. The Indian man wanted to do something nice for you and your daughter before leaving the country.